Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have plenty of news stories to cover. And before we begin, just a quick announcement. My next upload later in the week will be a project update and price analysis video for XRP and Ripple. But a bit of news today and market updates because there's been a lot of growth in the space. As we can see, a quick summary of some of the price movements over the past few days. The market cap is now at $250 billion US dollars. Bitcoin is held above $9,000 per coin, now at $9,300. Ethereum at $186 and XRP at approximately 30 cents. But looking at some of the biggest gainers of the past 24 hours, Stellar has shot up. There is news about Stellar coming up later in this video. It's up approximately 18%. Komodo roughly 13%, VeChain at about 12%, and then going down the list some other major cryptos. EOS at 6%. Litecoin is showing some positive signs, although how well, the question to ask yourselves is for how long these can all be maintained. Cardano is also up, and then BAT as well, and various cryptos. A lot of positive signs throughout the space. And on the other hand, those with some of the biggest losses are far less than the gains over the past 24 hours and over the past 7 days, as you can see with that line graph there. A quick reminder, none of this content is financial advice and I'm not a financial advisor. So let's jump in and look at some of the information here. Beginning with Stellar, the Stellar team have recently burnt 55 billion stellar lumens, which has caused a huge drop in the total supply in the overall network. Let's have a look at this daily hodl piece here. For those that are new to the space, burning in simple terms refers to removing the coins or tokens from circulation. Going down the article, and as usual, I encourage you to read all of these in further detail, and links to these will be provided in the description. Foundation says it has determined it no longer needs a large treasure trove to continue its mission. A quote from the Foundation: "Just before this announcement, we burned 5 billion lumens from our operating fund. It now stands at 12 billion lumens. This reduction isn't in any way a retreat from our mission. It's an acknowledgement that we owe it to the ecosystem, to the network, and to ourselves to be as efficient as possible in our work." To summarize some key points, it talks about Stellar's World Giveaway program, which is in reference to individual airdrops and billions of lumens that have been burnt since the network's creation as well. This ties in with XRP, so Stellar and XRP being two of the biggest cryptos in regards to gross payment settlement systems and remittances. Ripple holds billions of I think it's 50 billion XRP in escrow. Every month they're releasing 1 billion XRP. So they're selling off the tokens and they're using the funds to help develop their Ripple network. So for those that are interested, there is this piece here from bitcoinist.com titled "XRP from escrow storage to leak into market for another 18 years. Or they don't want to flood the market because that would influence the price. But I encourage you to read this article for further information. I will be talking more about this in my XRP video later in the week. And because it's just focused on XRP, I'll be going into all of this in great detail. Before I move on to the next article, I want to draw your attention to this that I found online. And it's a really neat summary of blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. So this TradeX piece, or TradeIX piece, gives a neat overview of what these are. So the former being an example of the latter. And we've got some visuals there helping illustrate these technologies here. Thank you to TradeX for producing this. This forms part of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology education, something that many of us can constantly improve in the space, myself included. I am by no means an expert. There's always a lot for me to learn. It's important to stay up to date as well. And something I want to talk about in regards to education, there's this interesting article here about French kids now learning about Bitcoin at school, or this program that will be implemented shortly. To summarize this, the French Education Ministry will incorporate the course about Bitcoin, blockchain technology, money, and decentralized networks as well. Now, bearing in mind that these are kids, the information won't be very detailed. It should be fairly brief and relevant for them to understand how it all works, or at least the fundamentals, and getting a basic grasp of it all. This ties in with President Macron's, French President Emmanuel Macron's push for more innovation and technology and promoting technology as well. Also, there was that announcement from last week with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now we're here with French President Macron going beyond just blockchain, but talking about Bitcoin and money, and just getting people to evaluate money, what it is, and This ties in with the euro as well. The euro, in the grand scheme of things, is a relatively new currency, and that is starting to buckle under the pressure as well. People are questioning whether it will survive for much longer. Who knows? That's a different topic. Leaving that aside, information about Cardano testnet. So we're getting news about Shelley testnet. So we're getting news here from Cardano's Charles Hoskinson about a tentative date for the Shelley incentivized testnet release. In a quote from Hoskinson, I'll say it 3 times. Tentatively, we believe that the date's probably somewhere around the 12th of November, said Charles Hoskinson, co-founder of IOHK, emphasizing the word tentative so as to not get into trouble later for misinterpretation, while revealing the date for the much-awaited release of the incentivized testnet. On his latest surprise AMA, in air quotes, he said, and I do quote again, so you will be able to install a different version of incentivized testnet. Daedalus is basically your companion, and it is going to be the thing that you try to restore your wallet into. That's repetition, okay? So if you have your keyword from your Daedalus wallet and then eventually your Roy wallet, because we'll support both, then you should be able to restore your wallet in the testnet Daedalus interface. End quote. Now, just for the record, this was published on the 4th of November. I don't understand why he's saying tentatively that there'll be the testnet release. If that's a week away, you'd think by now there'd be some clarity, or you think there'd be certainty or near certainty if the testnet will be released, especially in 1 week. I find it a bit odd that he's coming out being reluctant to give exact details. Anyway, each to their own. The Shelley, now with these testnets, as has occurred with various projects, there's been a delay. Thinking of Plasma and Ethereum, that has been a very lengthy delay as well. If you would like further information about different aspects of Cardano's roadmap, we have this info here. So Byron, or the development phase for that, ended earlier this year, and as mentioned, we're now on Shelley, and this gives you a breakdown of what's involved in a nutshell. According to this, just taking a snippet out of the roadmap, come the end of the Shelley era, we expect Cardano to be 50 to 100 times more decentralized than other large blockchain networks, with the incentives scheme designed to reach equilibrium around 1,000 stake pools. And then further technical details about that. It is considered, just for your record, a 3rd generation cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin being number 1, Ethereum being number 2, and then Cardano being 3rd gen. So with this, it claims better scalability and sustainability in addition to speeds and improved interoperability. So they still have these different stages. So there's Gauguin, Basho, and Voltaire, all poised to be completed, according to this, by the end of next year, so the end of 2020. Let's see what happens if they can get this all completed on time. But anyway, talking about Ripple now, some great Ripple partnerships that have occurred in the space. So there's Ripple and Vietnam-based TP Bank partnering for blockchain remittances. TP Bank claims to be the first Vietnamese bank to apply blockchain technology for overseas remittances. This was announced on Monday that RippleNet will allow its customers to make a money transfer from Japan to a TP Bank account within a few minutes, whereas previous transfers will take a few hours. Another partnership with Ripple and fintech firm Finastra, there for blockchain remittances, and a partnership there with SBI Holdings expanding even further. So they jumped on board with Ripple, I think it was about a few months now, in fact probably for about a year. They're going to broaden the network coverage, and they've therefore broaden the usage of XRP and RippleNet, saying here that powering remittances from Japan to Southeast Asia. More of these partnerships that are coming to fruition, and they'll be reaping the benefits from these lower fees and quicker remittances as well. And they've probably been seeing these, I should say, for a while, and this will only get even better, solidifying Ripple and XRP's reputations in the space and their names, and trying to get that extra exposure. So great to see that being done as well. A few quick stories just to finish this video. There is this piece here about someone else claiming to be the owner of 250,000 Bitcoin, or in the wallet, and an alleged Bitcoin co-founder. I guess you get people coming out all the time, left, right, and center, claiming to be Satoshi Nakomoto. The individual or the group, we still don't know to this day. This time around, it's a German entrepreneur and former DJ, okay, going by Jörg Molt, has laid claim to the Nakamoto name, telling attendees to a crypto industry event that he is the co-creator of Bitcoin and owns 250,000 coins. This just going down and summarizing the key points. It talks a bit about Nakamoto and the history there, information as well. Alleged Bitcoin co-founder and air quotes. On this note, I do want to bring to your attention, there was this thing I noticed on Twitter. And if you, by the way, if you're liking my content so far, feel free to subscribe to my channel, connect via Twitter as well if you're interested there. Anyway, back to the story. Andreas Antonopoulos, for those who don't know, he is one of the biggest spokespeople for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. So there was this photo taken with him and Jörg Molt. Now, he has this announcement, say like a crypto PSA here. He has no connection and does not know Jörg at all whatsoever. And it says now, this is a direct quote from his Twitter page. I've heard from others that he claims to be the founder of Bitcoin and has thousands of BTC. A lie in uppercase. Andreas making the very strong statement there. You have all of these personas in the space that are really just trying to rub people the wrong way, so to speak. I thought I'd throw that in there because people have an interest in this. Anyway, there's the info. The last thing I want to talk about, there's this dollar cost averaging calculator that I've found, and you can compare it with gold and the US dollar as well. I'll let you fiddle around with this if you're interested. There's a link there as well. This ties in with this CoinDesk piece here about Bitcoin outshining gold for the first time since June, focusing on the information about the monthly performance of Bitcoin and gold. As you could imagine, gold has been a lot steadier. However, for more months this year, as we can see, Bitcoin's performance has outshone gold for most of the year. Now, there have been times, as we can see, or for those not looking at the screen, back in June, Bitcoin rose as on average approximately 26%. Gold, on the other hand, just under 8%, and then that was followed up by really strong growth in May for Bitcoin. Despite the declines between July and September, Bitcoin is now back up again and giving people some very healthy returns depending on when you bought and when you sold, or if you've just bought in cheap and holding. Some would say to get a more accurate comparison, you'd need to look at gold's early history and the volatility of gold back in the day when it was first traded as a commodity. So that's a wrap. Prices once again on the screen. Good to see that the market is up. So at a macro level there, the market cap, as I mentioned, is at approximately 250 billion US dollars. Looking at Bitcoin's dominance as well, still holding at about 67-68% dominance there. And I forgot to mention the vast volumes, the huge volumes going through the space over the past 24 hours, looking very promising. The volume data can vary wildly between the different exchanges depending on where you look. That's the information there. Well, that's a wrap. What are your thoughts about the information I've covered in this video? If you'd like to subscribe and stay up to date with my latest videos, well, click the subscribe icon and don't forget to smash the bell as well. If you have something to say or you just want to say g'day, feel free to leave your feedback in the comments section. Like this if you enjoyed it. Share this with someone who you believe will benefit from this information, and I will speak to you all shortly. Another video coming up later this week, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day or evening wherever you are, and I'll speak to you soon. See ya.